Hey scrappers, if you're looking to figure out what materials you should sell this week or hold this week, now is the time to do it. Our weekly report is going to give you that information, up-to-date market news, pricing. Let's get right into it and we'll talk about it inside. Hey scrappers, Tom here from the iScrap app, and today is Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. This is pre-recorded a day ahead of time. I'm traveling when you're actually watching this, so I apologize, but I will be live either next week or the week after, depending on my travel schedule. So what's going on with these markets right now? You know, we have markets that are still reacting to lots of ideas. What's going to happen to the federal, rate cut? What's going to happen to the markets with the election? What's going to happen with any of these things? So when I look at the rates and I try to figure out what's going on, and I try to look at the copper prices, the steel prices, how are the markets going to react? On Wednesday, I'm looking forward to an interest rate cut, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens with the Japanese bank on Friday. If you remember back in August, there was a real fast 20-cent price drop on a Monday in early August, which really bucks a lot of the trends. So the Japanese bank increased their interest rates, which was completely unexpected. Their stock market dropped by 25%. It did recover. And that sent ripples through the markets, which were just now recovering from 6 weeks later. So a lot of people have already baked in an interest rate cut. And for the metals markets, it's kind of in the price. That's why we've seen a little more of an uptick. Now, when I look at copper prices or nickel prices or gold prices, and I see markets increasing, copper, for instance, up 1.93% in the last week. Nickel prices about even, but still at 52-month lows. Aluminum prices week over week up almost 9%. When I see some of these markets, I see that there's a little sign of life. I see that we may be getting to the other side. But I also know that it's September 18th and we have 6 or 7 more weeks of political talk until we figure out who's going to be running this country over the next 4 years. And we're looking at it because it's going to have such a heavy impact on the markets. We don't know which way to react. One side says that it's going to help commodities. One says that it's going to hurt commodities. Then you talk to someone else and they have different opinions. But with oil and gas prices going down the last few months, that's because the United States has really been greenlit to increase their energy production. So that's helped the gas prices nationally lower since the beginning of the summer. A lot of people think that it's more of a political tool than it is an actual tool, kind of bribing the American public with cheaper gas prices to be able to get votes. Oh, things aren't that bad. They're returning to normal. Well, some people think that increasing the fuel, increasing the production of it will lead to prices going down, which will lead to trucking rates going down, which will lead to further economic development. All of these could be the right answers. I mean, we just don't know because we can't run parallel universes. But when I look at this, I think about foreign trade. I think about tariffs. I think about metal prices moving forward. For instance, the United States and the European Union reinforced their trade defenses, with steel playing a key role in political discussions, and that's from Bloomberg. So what does that mean? That means that we're looking at how we defend ourselves. We're looking at how we work with others on that defense. And we're trying to figure out if the steel prices are going to be able to help those defenses moving forward. And I think that they will, because steel prices are really a little low, in my opinion. But the amount of steel that's out there is so high because business development is really continuing. We're seeing a lot of economic activity across larger metropolitan areas, both for data warehouses, server farms, residential building. So people are now starting to knock down larger buildings, recycling that steel to put up maybe condos or apartment buildings, but it's not an even swap. You're not trading out 5,000 tons of steel for 5,000 tons. Maybe you're getting 1,000 tons of steel because there's more rebar in the concrete, and then there's wood structure, so you have a lot less materials. So we're looking at these, and it's not easy to really siphon through these. And while rate cuts generally weaken the U.S. dollar, we've seen over history through Reuters, we're reading this, although rate cuts usually weaken the U.S. dollar, history shows the dollar has strengthened after the initial rate cuts. A weaker dollar could boost commodities, especially metals like copper and gold. So if when the U.S. dollar is so strong and it's kind of the bellwether for the world, and we have a strong U.S. economy, strong U.S. dollar, it hurts commodities because people want to invest in the U.S. They want to invest in U.S. stocks. They could potentially buy U.S. dollars to be able to hold them, hoping that they're going to go up in value. Where now we may start to see a shift if we start to see interest rates dipping, where people are now investing more in metals. A lot of people are predicting that gold will continue its bull run. Gold hit its 52-month high again yesterday, over 2,600 per ounce. That could go to $3,000, and a lot of that has to do with economic activity and a little market uncertainty. Now, what we have seen is that those gold and silver prices have started to finally have an effect on platinum and palladium prices. And we've seen catalytic converter average numbers going up on a price per cap basis for the first time in a substantial period of a few months, where markets really have been flatlined with very minimal movement. So that's another positive piece of news that we're kind of looking at and trying to figure out and decipher when it comes to these markets. Now, when we're looking at both domestic and international news, what's happening outside of the US that's going to affect the market? So again, we read this out of Bloomberg. China produces over half of the world's steel, but is facing a decline in demand, especially from its once booming construction sector. This mimics what I've been saying for months. Things are being built, but they're being built residentially, not commercially. And even a lot of the new buildings that are going up, instead of using steel I-beams and steel panels, they're using concrete walls, which has about 10% of the weight of steel that a normal wall would, because they're putting the rebar in and they're just constructing these things almost like Legos. Bring in the new truck, put up the new wall. Bring in the new truck, put up the new wall. But you don't have I-beams. Sure, you're going to have cross beams to be able to connect the roofs, but that's about it. And that's a huge amount of steel decreasing. Also, when they're building these server farms, right, these IT farms, whatever, whether it's for Bitcoin, for AI, for general data like cell phone usage, they're not going up, right? They're really more going out because of the cooling structure. So they don't have 2 or 3 levels like they might have pallet racks inside of an Amazon, a Home Depot, a Lowe's warehouse. So that also consumes less materials. So they're using these bigger warehouses to store things that don't consume as much space or metal weight. That that hurts the markets as well. So when we see all of these things and we see weaker economic data from China, both on steel, on copper, these are both cited from Bloomberg, this is going to continue to hurt the markets. And we're looking at another article we read from oil price. While a short covering rally in iron ore is expected due to oversold conditions, what does that mean? We might see the markets increasing because people oversold their futures contracts because prices were going down, right? We're seeing that the long-term outlook remains bearish because there's just too much material out there. There's too much steel. Think about this. Office buildings aren't being built at the rate that they once were. General construction for commercial not being built at the rate they once were. We're now seeing commercial builders taking all of the equipment, all of the manpower, all of their time and energy and resources and pushing it towards residential. So now you got these commercial guys that used to put up huge buildings. They're building condos. What do they care? A paycheck is a paycheck. The materials don't matter to them. They're just building something that's put together on plans. The metals care. The metals markets get hurt. And that's why I've continued to recommend sell, 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 sell. Sell everything you have. If you're going to hold on to anything, Bear Bright and Stainless would be the only markets I would even consider holding right now, because the Bear Bright gives you a really high upswing if we have prices that go up by 30 to 40 cents. The Stainless gives you a really high upswing because you could only sell it for 25 or 30 cents a pound today. And by holding it gives you the ability to get double a price or 50% more. That's a swing that's worth it. Copper pipe, you hold it at $3 where you could cash it in today. What are you holding it for? $3.20, $3.30. Bear Bright, I generally kind of picked as a hold item because the value is the highest out of all of the grades of copper, and that's really how I'm thinking. That's kind of what I'm looking. We had a question, though, it came in, and then we got a couple of things that people have talked about. So topic, many scrappers end up using old shopping carts for their storage options. Did you know about Sylvan Goldman, the man who invented the shopping cart? And we've got a lot of people that tell us they love shopping carts because they're lightweight, they can bring them to job sites, they have easy-to-use wheels. And we've read this article about a man who popularized, and really he came up with the original patent for shopping carts all the way back in the 1920s. And Sylvan Goldman was using these in Oklahoma for his grocery stores. At first, people were taken back. Oh, we don't want this. We don't want this. Men thought that it was that they were too manly to push a shopping cart around. Why push a shopping cart when you can, put your groceries in here and carry them anywhere? Now you see shopping carts used everywhere. And I just talk about this for a couple of reasons. One, it's a great vessel to transport scrap. I know a lot of guys that do cleanouts, and when they do cleanouts of grocery stores, of department warehouses, Toys R Us when they went out of business years ago, they loved it because their guys could use the shopping carts to move their tools around easily. They could fill them up with wire if they were working in areas and push it somewhere easily. They could hook them up to other units and move them somewhere. So a tool that was designed for grocery stores is really a great product to use in the scrap world. And we'd love to hear about other vessels that you may use to move your scrap around to give us and other scrappers advice. Now, we had a couple of questions come in last week. We talked about, someone talked about ballasts. Why are they worth so little? Are they worth scrapping with low prices? Now, ballasts are not on my list of hold items, generally just because of the low value of them. There tends to be 3 or 4 types of ballasts. There's your traditional ballasts that look like smaller versions of transformers. Those are things that many of you take and cut apart. That's a great way to be able to make money on them. Moving forward, you always want to use a file because many of them are aluminum. But ballasts are not something that I take apart at my scrapyard. So you have your traditional ballasts, you have electronic ballasts. Those are very little copper. Those are more based on circuit boards. Those are used heavily in the LED industry. Those ballasts don't have as much metal in them, so we don't really recommend holding them or taking them apart. And then you have your traditional ballasts, your big, heavy black or white bricks that come out of fluorescent bulb lights or things like that. Again, if you've ever cracked one of those open, inside of it, there's a lot of tar. There is copper in there, but again, it's sloppy. It takes time to get to, and that's just not exciting to be able to hold on to and save and to be able to cash those in at future prices. You don't get that much more bang for your buck. So I really wouldn't save ballast, but I would look at our website for the different types. Our metals pages gives you lots of great insight. And what we've learned, so many people have watched our videos, they listen to some of the things. Our resources, our tools are so strong online. Use the iScrap app not only to learn more, but to make more money, report prices, and learn about other prices. These are going to be tools that help you for a long, long time. But going into October, we're 2 weeks out. Do I expect much movement this month? No. I talked to a very strong trader this morning that said that the copper prices and trading levels have been taken over by hedge funds at a level that's never been seen in the United States. What does that mean? Traders are now trading copper contracts opposed to people that have a need for it, and our supply and demand curve is being severely changed. Unfortunately, that's going to affect the scrap markets, and that's why we're bringing it up today. We can't control this stuff. Even I know guys that ship 50 to 60 loads of copper a week, and they can't figure out why or how these markets are being dictated by traders so heavily. So if guys that are moving millions of dollars a week are having problems figuring this out, myself, yourself, and other scrappers out there, we're going to have an even harder time. And that's why I do these weekly reports. So if I do learn about something, I can share it with you and you can get a better understanding of what's going on in the market as a whole. So scrappers, today is Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. We hope you're doing well, staying busy. We look forward to seeing your questions. Make sure you download and use the iScrap app, become a YouTube member, and check out all the videos that we have. We have so many videos, and every time you want us to make a video, just put a request in, and if we can fulfill that request, like rubbing a magic lamp, we will have that genie pop out, and I will make that video or have one of the people on our team make the video for you to explain what's going on. So comment below and let us know in any of the social platforms you're looking at. Scrappers, my name is Tom from the iScrap app, and until next week, I'll scrap you later.
Thanks for watching our video. For $2.99 a month, by becoming a member, you can get access to early videos, member-only videos, merchandise discounts from our store, and priority comments that we answer before answering any other scrappers. Click the link below to learn more. Until next time, scrap you later.